Thanks for tuning in to the Ground Chronicles this week with me, your host, Ashley Nicole, where we talk about being your whole self, your soul self, and having the absolute audacity to be who you were always meant to be and showing up completely without fear, judgment, anything. It's I am who I am and I'm aligned and I've done the work and I'm going to show up the best way that I can. And this week, let's get into some things that I think we forget about and we misconstrue, and that's just the intensity of being the greatest version of yourself. And before we get into like intensities and talking about that, let's talk about the difference between a vibration and then your frequency. Because I feel like I hear it a lot used interchangeably, and one kind of impacts the other sort of in a way. So let's go into that first before we talk about like how that affects being your most authentic self. And so the way that I think about it, the way that I feel into it is vibration versus frequency. So vibration is, let's say there's a scale, and then in the center of the scale is like 0 points. So it's not necessarily apathy, but it's just like indifference. Let's say there's that. So that's zero to put a number on it. Then we can go into the lower route, the lower vibration, and that is the anger. Maybe it's the rage. It could be sadness, depression, chaos, drama, um, what else? Like downtrodden. Kind of think of like the Eeyores of the feels of things. The way that I feel about, or the way that I think into and get into the vibration of things is how you feel internally and also how you affect people around you. So there's vibration on one end. Then there's like the high vibes. And then that's like joy, excitement, peace. It could be enlightenment. It could be love. And so those are the higher ones. And those are like the feel good vibrations. With those, you kind of, when someone's like, oh, I love your vibe, I love your energy, that's where you're kind of sitting at right there. Or if you've ever experienced someone who comes in the room and you're just like, fuck this shit. It's just like a cloud has walked in. That's like a lower vibe right there. Okay, great. Now that we have that. So those are like the feeling sort of things. Then we have frequency. So if you take a radio, your vibration is like the channel you're tuned into. That's the feeling. Your frequency is the volume of your vibration. So let's say on the radio, you have your 0 points, so like that's zero, done. Then you have let's do the typical lower vibration. So let's do chaos, sadness, and anger. So those are at like 90.1 on the dial. But when people are extremely angry and you feel it, and there's like just an energetic difference, that frequency is high because the volume is turned at like 3,000. So we went over to the left on our vibration of like 90.1, but the frequency is high. I promise you'll get a story so we could paint a better picture. And then on the entire same scale is when you have the people that are super joyous or they come in really peacefully and they positively affect the world. Their frequency is also high because that's their volume. So it's the volume of the controls of the vibration. So let's take this and it's just like, okay, Ashley, what the fuck are you talking about? Let's paint a picture. And I'm gonna use a real life example because I feel that a lot of people are going through this transition and it's almost asking permission to raise their frequency of the vibration that they're at. So, a couple years ago, I may be a speed demon. Like, I am an effective driver. I am very effective. I use my turn signals. I do. Um, but I was a speed demon. Yeah, I was. And so there was one night something had already pissed me off. So I'm like predisposed. We're in anger and we're in rage. And so what happens when I did before I learned how to regulate and channel energy? I was speeding. I was on a highway and I'm pedal to the metal. We are flat on the floor. And I'm already angry. And I see the lights pop up behind me and whoop whoop. I was like, fuck. On top of already being pissed off. Now I got the police behind me, and I know I'm getting pulled over. Like, I know I'm getting pulled over. And so this officer, he's one of the petty ones. He's one of the petty ones where it's just like, if you blink wrong at him, he's going to write a ticket about that. So he talks to me. He's like, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I was like, "Bitch, yes. Stop asking stupid shit." So he says speeding, but I see him walk the parameter of my car, and I was just like, "Are you fucking like you're looking for shit to go wrong?" Now I'm getting more and more angry, and he wrote me another ticket. So the speeding ticket, he wrote me another ticket for there was a crack in my windshield. Why the fuck is it your business if there's a crack in my windshield? Yes, I know what the actuality of it is, but still, I was pissed. So he wrote me a ticket for the speeding. He wrote me a ticket for the windshield. And then I didn't have there's like another city sticker and shit. Because at this point, I was like, I'm not paying into a fucking system that's already like taking everything from its citizens. So I'm pissed. Now, I was already pissed before this shit. I was caught speeding, which was my fault. That's just something I was doing. I didn't know how to control myself. I was caught speeding, and shit that I hadn't taken care of on my car had just like been all cutesy wrapped up into one package with a bow on it. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. So then, couple interesting conversations later, I'm driving off and I look at my guides and I was like, and what the fuck? Aren't you supposed to be protecting me? Da, da, da. Because again, you're angry and you're in chaos, nothing is ever your fault, or you crucify yourself. But nothing was my fault. Nothing was my fault. They were supposed to be protecting me because I was already angry. And they're like, no, motherfucker, your like mission on this earth is to realize your power. And if you are commanding energy from a space of chaos, from drama, and you want that volume to be all the way up, then watch the turmoil that you're going to create. That's what you're doing. You are creating that shit. And this isn't for everybody. Like, my life experience is going to be a little bit different from other people. But I was going the fuck in on my guides and whoever else outside of me, goddamn cat down the road and shit. Like, I was blaming everybody else. And it came to me and it was just like, oh, fuck. If I can create this turmoil from being this angry, if I can create this much destruction from being angry, what the fuck could I do if I was in joy? Or, as I later learned, what could I do if I channeled that anger towards construction and creativity? And so that brings me to a point where, one of my points, where sometimes you hear people like, I'm so angry and I'm mad or I'm sad or I'm whatever on this end. And the toxic positivity comes in, the spiritual community. Oh no, just think positive. And it's just like, bitch, no, because I'm betraying myself. I'm betraying myself because I genuinely feel this energy. And what needs to be said is, okay, feel it, do not become it. Channel it towards something. So I'm pissed. Okay, bet. Use that energy. Use that energy and channel it towards something constructive. So here's an example. Let's say you're angry and you're like, I know I'm pissed. I'm gonna validate my fucking feelings because that's authenticity. Authenticity has a higher frequency and vibration than love does. It's the highest vibration in the fucking world. So, okay, I'm gonna be authentic. I know I'm pissed. How can I use this constructively? Maybe I'm gonna go to the gym and be careful with my weights, and I'm also gonna listen to my body. But maybe I'm gonna go to the gym. Maybe I'm gonna go on a run. Maybe I'm gonna pour all this fucking energy into a creative project. Maybe I wanna paint. Maybe I wanna create music. Maybe I wanna do whatever the fuck else it is. Yes, you can absolutely manifest and align from a place of anger or from a place of rage or one of the other negative emotions that we've been talking about. Anger is just one that sticks out because it's so demonized and everybody's so like, nah, or kind of like, push it under the rug. It doesn't have to exist. No, you were put on the, nope, you were decided to come to this earth plane. And the veneration for your ancestors is feel that shit. Don't become it. You feel it and you process it, and you either channel it or you let it the fuck out. But what we're seeing a lot of is this bypassing of it, and then that's when the shame and the guilt comes in. And then when you're not expressing it, you're blocking your sacral because that's feelings. And if you're blocking your sacral, naturally, you're going to block your throat chakra. And it's not just about hearing or speaking, it is about you expressing yourself. And as you're packing down all of this expression and authenticity, because we're told to either fear our anger or we're told to, pretend it doesn't exist or it's not becoming or the stereotypes, like, how many times have I been labeled an angry Black woman? Like, that happens. No, feel the shit, honor your feelings, but do not become them. They don't have to be personality traits, because when you let a simple feeling that can just go through the entire process of integration and release, when people are like, well, that's just my personality, now you're a victim to a fucking feeling. And now we got to start a whole new healing journey for shit. And I'm here to tell you, no, don't fucking, no. Why? And also for people that are like, oh, well, I am afraid of my feelings, you're safe. You are safe. Support is out there, whether it's energy work people are doing, there's EMDR that people are doing, whether it's therapy, talk therapy, and there's a myriad of modalities for you to genuinely feel your feelings. It's when you make the decision that you no longer want to carry that shit. It starts with the decision that you say, I am valid, I am worthy, and I don't deserve to carry this shit. And some people subconsciously are like, well, I'm just going to like pack it away. And it becomes their identity, becomes their personality. And without that personality, they don't know who they are. So they decide, I'm going to be a victim to the feelings that I had because I don't know what it feels like to be without them. So that's the first part of this. The second part is when you have learned on a mental, a nervous system, and a fascial level to live in the lower vibrational frequencies, and you're doing the work. I'll give you a real life example after this. And you're doing the work and you're trying to move to the higher vibrations, the love, the peace, joy, pleasure is a huge one, and you somehow get looped right back over here, it's because your nervous system and your body is afraid of change. I've lived in this place for so damn long. I have to teach myself to be happy and to love, or to be peaceful, or that peace is safe, or that I'm allowed to experience genuine pleasure. Yes, it is far fetched as fuck when people are like, I I dead ass have to tell myself that it's okay to be happy. Yes. Because this is the situation on any journey or whenever there's any change, and you start looping back into like, so something starts going well. But so let's say you started here. I'm used to like the anger, the sadness, the depression, survival, poverty, restriction. That's over here. And anytime you start moving over towards like the happier feelings or joy, joy is better because happy is a state of mind, joy is the actual feeling. Okay. When you're starting to move into the joy, pleasure, freedom, love, authenticity, those higher vibrations, and you're looking around for something to go wrong, it's because the nervous system is like, fuck, that's a threat. I am used to this over here. So now if I'm experiencing something different, I'm going to look for something to go wrong because I'm used to it. And if nothing goes wrong, I will create something to go wrong. And that's when, because I don't want to ever say stuck because it just takes a little more intentionality and a little more self love and work. But it's when you are, quote unquote, you're used to that lower vibration. And so you will loop yourself back into it. So take a beat. If you have ever experienced those times when You're like, I'm doing all the work and I have all this going for me. And then you start looking around like, oh, fuck, something's going to go wrong. The shoe's going to drop. Yes. Is there a law of like balance and like every positive goes in there? Yeah, we understand that, but don't look for it. That's your nervous system saying, like, I don't feel safe. So I'm going to create the chaos that I'm used to. And coming out of that shit is hard as fuck. Hard as fuck. Don't get me wrong. But that's where you start using the subconscious reprogramming. So, like the theta waves to make the mind is getting on board. Then you start the nervous system reprogramming through the breath work or through all of the modalities to regulate your nervous system. And then you also have to get your fascia on board too, because that holds the data. That's the webbing in your body that holds the data. So you're hydrating the fascia. You're also doing like the foam rolling or the woodworking through the body to get the hydration throughout the body. You need all three of those systems to know that you're safe to change. So you can change your permanent vibration. It doesn't have to happen in just spikes of like, oh, this is good. And then I'm going back down to here. Oh, this is great. And then I'm going back down to here. You don't have to live on a pendulum or a swinging, what the fuck? You can permanently change your vibration. Does it take intention? Absolutely. Are you worth it? Even more absolutely or really nits, whatever. Yes, it's absolutely possible. It's just, do you want to put in the work for you? That's it. It doesn't have to be like, oh, well, when I feel like this, then I'll just, kind of, um, kind of just stay there just for this moment. It's momentary. You can permanently change your vibration, and it takes practice. It takes patience. It takes grace, and you are worth that. That is your gift to yourself. Is the greatest version of who you are. And so I brought that up because it's a very far-fetched idea. Teach my body that it's safe to change? Yeah. If your body does not think change is safe, either because it's never experienced change before or change before has been tumultuous and has created trauma, yes, you absolutely have to teach your body that change is safe. Also, if you've perpetually been in this state right here and you haven't had the time or the opportunity to genuinely experience a life on the other end, and you can create it. You are the co-creator with the universe. And it takes that intention. It takes that time. And I mean, that's not to say every day is going to be like, oh my God, it's rainbows and butterflies and unicorns that poop glitter. I'm not saying that at all. That's the furthest thing from what I'm saying. Because as you're learning and you're teaching yourself that change is safe, you're also learning that like, okay, if I ever do go back to maybe it's just irritation or something, I know how to stabilize myself. My window of tolerance is it's a beautiful space that I know that I can come home to my body. I know that I'm home in my body. My safety lives in my body. It's not determined by anything else. And safety is really just like, okay, homeostasis, like I'm right here. That's it. And I know how to bring myself back to 0 point or where I'm used to being. And it's needed because there should be no shame about any of the feelings that happen. That disgusting fucking connotation in communities of like, just stay positive or it'll get better. Okay, when the fuck is it gonna get better? It gets better when you validate your own feelings and what you're moving through while not becoming it. You do not have to become it. However, you do get the chance to experience it. It's your decision. It's your decision, and you bloom from there. I want everyone to be their greatest selves. That's genuinely, I love watching people's lights turn on and they're just like, oh, fuck, it's me. And it's like, yeah, it's you, shorty. And that comes with knowing that you have the ability to change. Your journey is going to look a little bit different from like X, Y, and Z, Joe down the road or whoever the fuck, but it's possible and you're worth it and you deserve it. And yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. I love interacting with everybody. It's one of my favorite things. I love connection. I love connection. I love connection. I love connection. And I will see you on the next episode.